Welcome to TCS. My name is Marisa Bluedorn, and I am the CEO as well as for TCS Consulting, as well as for Own It Magazine and Publishing. And I'm so excited to be here on the TCS side of the world. This is all about leadership development, leadership connectivity with its people, organizational development, organizational psychology. Taking center stage and owning it with me today is my girl. She is a radical woman, and she is talking about some radical things for our executive leaders as it pertains to just, you know what, we have, even though we had the pandemic, and thank God, prayerfully, that's not going to rear its ugly head again, not to the capacity that it did. But we had stress before the pandemic and was not handling it properly. Now we are post pandemic and we get ready to get back to some normal but same stress. And we've been talking about the importance of dealing with that stress, especially when we're talking about heart disease being the number one killer for women. And understanding the heart's connection, the emotional side, the spiritual side, the emotional side of it. And what I don't know why this keeps coming to my mind, but every time I think about it and we begin to talk about this topic, and I think about heart disease being the number one killer, is I'm thinking about how much women go through heartbreak. Like, we're talking about not getting paid equal pay. We're talking about, always looking like we're out of control emotionally when we base ourselves on the basic level. We're not even talking about moving mountains, just on the basic level, just being able to have a conversation where your passion is not misconstrued with you being dominating or you being overwhelming. So when I think about heart disease and when I think about it being the number one killer, I don't think about it from the place of medical, so to speak. I think of it from a place of emotions. And I just feel like if we, I'll say this, and then I'm going to digress. Case in point for me was my mom, and her last days on the earth, her last year, she was diagnosed with colon cancer. And even after she really got to the last stages, the oncologist, I remember him saying, I don't remember if my sister was in the room with me or not in the room with me, but I remember him saying he was blown away. The disease had taken her out so fast. He was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. But as the youngest child of my parents' first set of kids, I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. She'd given up. She'd given up. She had been through so much that she took the easy route out. She felt the presence of God. And she's like, this is a whole lot better than this over here. And I believe she's only 53 years old. Like, I'm 50, I'm going to be 56 this year. I'm in the gym. I'm living a very vibrant life. I didn't have the same life that my mom had, but I had my share of challenges. I believe that what took my mom out more than any cancer was heartbreak, disappointment, struggle after struggle, challenge after challenge. And we're not really talking about that because we're not allowed to. We're not given the space in our social environments to really talk about truly, authentically. Because when you hear women talk about, I'm taking off the mask, what mask? I didn't know you had a mask on. I thought you were being yourself.
Right.
You know, what is going on? And I can say this because a outward experience, because I'm a loner. I don't like all of what I see going on with friend networks. And so I prefer hanging out with Lulu, me and Lulu. Doing the whole group ain't normally my thing. unless it's a general group, because of that very thing of all the stressors of having everybody, vying at you, and and drama. And so you and I have been talking about this for the last, what? I think I've known you for a year and a half now, maybe.
A little more.
There you go. We're coming up on 2 years. And I'm going to tell you, like, I'm hearing it, being in the publishing industry, publishing these books, and reading the content and the stories in the books, and things like that. This is what was going on before. My mom passed away in '97.
Mm.
This was going on way before the pandemic, and it's something that we have not addressed properly. And it shows up in the workplace. It shows up on our bodies. This dis-ease that we talk about. It shows up on our bodies because we're not taking care of ourselves. We feel so overwhelmed, uh, that we just succumb whatever is going to make us feel good temporarily, but doing detrimental damage to us ultimately. Um, Talk, Lulu. I've shared. Talk, Lulu. Why is it important for us to, do the introspective work that's required, and that work being done through journaling, that work being done through writing, and why professional women, if they've not been involved in the anthologies, if they look down upon them or didn't hear about them. Why is it important for these C-suite executives to start writing, to start really getting to participate in the project that you have going on? I'm wrapping up my projects, but the project that you have going on and beyond, all of the resources, everything that you're putting into this to help your authors to not only write about what they've experienced and share with the audience how they've overcome, and tips and insights for words of wisdom, but also to how to continue their own journey of transformation and deliverance from all of this trauma and drama that women experience that are causing us to have heart attacks and heart failure.
So thank you for having me here. And and one of the things that I would say is a big driver, and I'm going to go specifically to women, is that we just have too much masculine energy. And we've embraced this masculine energy as if for some reason we're not this great leader if we don't take on something other than who we are. And we say authenticity, and it's like throwing around a word that has no meaning anymore because it's just a word. We're not really living that. Taking off the mask. There's multiple masks. Which one are you taking off? Because there's so many now. And we have to bring back the human spirit. That's what's so important. If we cannot bring back the human spirit, then we're destined to just continue to spiral where we are right now, or even uh, in a more, I'll say, degraded state. And if I think about the landscape of business, it's rapidly changing. And you know that I teach a lot on divine feminine leadership, but that principle is evolving. And everything that you're talking about is all encompassed in that principle or those principles. And they are affecting the future of work. And so, our unique qualities and our strategies as women, what we bring to the table is very positive when we embrace it, when we allow it to come forth, when we are able to say that, okay, this is who I am at my core, at my essence. And so this divine feminine leadership is becoming increasingly relevant in our fast paced, interconnected world. And we see it as a response to the demand for more compassionate leadership, more empathetic leadership, more inclusive leadership, and overall bringing that human spirit that doesn't let you bank your vacation. Let's just use that as an example because we're talking about retreating. It doesn't let you bank your vacation to the point that now you've got 5, 6 weeks of vacation because every year you just bank it. You just say, okay, I didn't go on vacation. I didn't go on vacation. And there's all this vacation because no one is keeping track. Our whether it's HR or rather it's the diversity department, no one is really watching what is happening to the human spirit. And so that is a really big part of it. And I can tell you that divine feminine leadership is not just for women. I can tell you that those principles and characteristics being embraced by men and women actually transitioning back to who they are at their core, and us having that balance of masculine energy and feminine energy working together, that's a recipe to get us back on track. Anything short of that is going to keep us spiraling downward.
Yeah. When you talk about banking your vacation, I can remember, doing a lot of staycations. Just staycationing, and staycationing. I wish I had someone to tell me, Marisa, if you stop doing this here, you stop doing this here, and you put your money together and you take your kids all over the place, you will have so you will there's so much more um, when you go away, and you experience other cultures, even if you don't necessarily go and leave the country. Let's say you just go away. I know my daughter has gone to Oregon. My youngest daughter went to Oregon, and she went to a black farm where she volunteered and she learned farming. Um, that was beautiful because who knew to go to a black farm and do farming, and inside the state, or go to another country. She's even done, when my kids were younger. She went to Australia. She went with Ron Luce's Teen Mania, and she
Mhm.
went over to Australia, and she stayed nearly a month in Australia. Michael Myers was there doing a conference, and during when they had downtime, they attended her conference, and got the chance to hear her minister. But then they served. They served the people. They cleaned the people who were in need. They cleaned their homes up. They ministered to them in some kind of way. They did not stay in a hotel. They stayed in a hostel, which is not nice. Bed bugs and everything else. My poor child got to experience bed bugs and all this other crazy over Australia. But what it did was mature her. It matured her. What I would have liked to see done was that we've gone as a family different places. Because what happens when you do this, it's not about a luxury. It's about an experience that shapes and transforms how you see things in the world. So when you shortchange yourself by taking vacations, you think you're I got all this vacation time and da, da, da. Well, if you die tomorrow, God forbid, nobody gets the vacation time. And a lot of times we're going out of this world fast because we're not dealing with stress And at the top of the show, I talked about my mom. Well, one thing that my mom taught me was boundaries. You don't get access to me beyond my desire for you to have access to me. And I have no guilt of that. I don't have any guilt of that. If I show up for you, I'm there to show up for you. And I'm going to do everything in my power to help you when I show up. But I also need my me time. And I guard my me time because I know in my me time, when I nurture myself, I'm going to show up a whole lot better for you because I'm going to show up happy and satisfied, bubbling over and ready to give because I got plenty of honey. I'm not going to give it from a droughtful place. And so that's the thing showed me for sure, was that so many people came to her for wisdom, but she never knew how to truly retreat, refresh, and reset so that she can give out of plenty. And that's what we do when we fail to take our vacations. It's vacate for a reason. And then it's invest in your vacation, right? Don't just sit around the house. You need to, God told Abraham, get a country and your kindred, go somewhere else so I could talk to you. We have to leave and stop filling your vacations up with more stuff to do. Sit down, be quiet. Like, okay, I get it. Climb a rock, fly out of an airplane, do one excursion. Don't fill each and every day up with something to do. There's something wrong with even that. Sit down, relax, leave the sleep all day. One thing that I taught my kids to do was we did fasting, we did prayer here, we ran there, we did tournaments, we did ballet, we did jazz, we did it all. But one thing I am thankful for, I did not travel like I wish I would have. But one thing I'm thankful for is I taught my daughters to put on some PJs, and from sun up to sundown, we sitting here and we going to veg on TV, chocolate chip cookies out of the oven. We're gonna chill. We're gonna chill out. This is a stress-free day, so that we can get built up and then go back out. And so vacations, retreats that are designed um, to teach you how to self-care. One thing I did with my interior decorating business, because it was a physical business, was I engrafted in a day.
Mm.
Once I finished the project, I did a spa day, and I had a regimen. I had them do my face. I had I had a seaweed wrap, which they they put all of that mud on you, that seaweed mud on you, and they wrap you up in a nice warm cocoon. And I went so often that the girls, it was Kathy and I can't remember the other girl's name, but I had gone so often that they would just let me sleep in there. They would leave me because I would come during off days where nobody was really coming to, so they didn't have a lineup of people, and they would just let me sleep because I was tired after painting and all that other stuff and physically doing these things. It wasn't a, a luxury, it was a necessity for me to go to the spa. I needed my body me. Now I had to treat my body. And
Mm.
I'm saying that to say that's exactly what these retreats are for. These retreats are for you to learn. If you're not going to teach yourself, allow someone else to come in and show you a quality life. And it doesn't have to be expensive, but a quality life so that you have longevity, that you have longevity in your spirit, that your heart is not broken, that you teach yourself that even if don't you learn how to love yourself so that you're not requiring people to love you in a way that they just don't have it to do. But love yourself enough so that you're not heartbreaking in those areas, that you treat yourself well. And part of this is going to the retreats. Part of this is to be poured into by other people who know what you're experiencing, know the opposite of what you're experiencing, and know how to get you to a place where you can have balance in your life and you can start enjoying your life and you can avoid the number one killer, which is heart disease, because it is the number one killer of women. And we need to address that. And it's not always just medical, it is what is going on in your psyche, what is going on in your emotions, um, where is the trauma coming in from, and how do you address that trauma, and be released from that are adverse to you, and holding you back. And that's why it ain't cool to say you got all this vacation. In fact, stop telling people that and start taking your vacation time. And if you're not feeling well, call out sick. I mean, there's no honor in bringing yourself. People don't want you on the job sick because guess what? You want to make them sick. So stay home. Stay home and get well, and we'll give you an award for perfect attendance because perfect attended to the point where you didn't make any of us sick by you attending. We can figure out another award to give you, not for you to come in and burn yourself out. And so share with the audience as we close out, you have your book and Radical Ascension to the Next Dimension. And not only that, this is a year-long project that you're working on. I believe that you still have room for other people to join in. And you
Yes.
want, come on, executive, get your story out. Your story is someone's waiting to hear your story. At the executive C-suite level, the reason why I like supervisors and managers is because they should be on their way up to your position. They should be getting themselves, they should be understanding about succession planning, whether an organization has that very upfront or not. They should be aware, your supervisors, your managers should be aware that there is a flow of things, that, just because you become a manager doesn't mean that that's the end for you. Teach them to have aspirations for growing up in the business. It's better for you to hire someone from within who already knows your company, that you don't have to do all of this onboarding, transitioning, them getting to know the company and the culture, who's who and do. When you have someone that's inside the company, they already know the company. They know the company politics. They know the company's culture. They know who is who and what is what. But the thing is that you just treat them well so that they know that they're valued, that their input is valued, and you'll have better performance overall. You won't have gaps in your performances. Share your story in books like this and projects like this so that others can rise up. They can read your story, and they can rise up with a little bit of ease and flow, as Lulu says. So they can rise up. That's what you want them to do, to participate in some of these projects. A link with this project, you said, is a retreat. Then you have some other retreats as well. As we close out, could you share contact with you, to get involved in all that you're doing? I know we're doing the joint thing, but they'll know that. Share with what you're doing in Aruba and Morocco, right?
Yes. Yes. Um, Everything that we're doing, both of us together, some independent, it all centers around the well being, the growth, starting with folks that are at the very C-suite level, because that's who's leading everybody else. That's who's setting the example. And then also those that aspire to get to that level, but we don't want them to go to that level in the conditions that we see in many places today. And so, rather someone is with us in Morocco or Aruba, part of what's beautiful about Radical Ascension to the Next Dimension anthology is that within that year, we are doing a lot of coaching. We are really helping people do the introspective work. So it's really your journey. And while you're writing, you're still evolving and you're still ascending and you're still climbing into other dimensions. And regardless of whatever you decide, whether you are part of the anthology and its coaching or any of the retreats, here is where we really are. As we move forward into the future, women and men who embrace what you've been talking about, Marisa, who are incorporating and integrating their entire life instead of trying to slice it up into pieces, they're going to be the ones that are at the forefront of organizational change and transformation. They're going to be the ones that come and participate with us in these programs. They're going to be the ones that are creating diverse, inclusive teams. They're going to be fostering creativity at a greater level, innovation, and they're really going to be helping people build sustainable lives, both personally and professionally. Because some of what's happening today, it's not sustainable. And that's why we have dis-ease rooting the disease, and literally, in some cases, a lot of chaos. Now, people can debate and pretend, but at the end of the day, when we have that conversation that we need to have, but nobody really wants to have it,
Right.
when we can get to that place and be honest and really take a look and say, my salary, the square footage of my home, how many cars, what type of cars, what college my children are going to. At the end of the day, if we don't have these basic human, very human, integrative things that actually help us to ascend to higher levels, guess what? We're not even going to live long enough to see children graduate from the college that we've spent a fortune sending them. We're not going to be there to enjoy the fruit of our labor. And so I leave us with, you really want to reach out for us. You want to find out, and it's easy. It's everywhere. You can
Yes.
you can go on Facebook, you can go on Instagram, uh, wherever you look for us, you're going to see the retreats. You're going to see our programs. You're going to get some insight into what we're going to be sharing with those that decide to go on the journey.
Hmm. Awesome. Listen, we are looking to help you to de-stress. We know what it's like to feel pulled on all sides, and we know all it takes is retreating, getting refreshed, and resetting. It's just that simple, and focusing on what matters most to you. And so we want to do that. We are doing that here in the Dominican Republic. There's a whole schedule inside the Own It magazine. If you're reach out to us, and we will more than happy email you directly that list, and you just put in your deposit, select your date, put in your deposit, and get here and get surrounded. Start to create. I say this. This is my philosophy: is that you are the CEO of your life. You have control. You the chief executive officer of your life. You do have control over your life. You don't have control over what everybody else does in the externals, but you internal, and you have control over your decisions. It's time for you to make executive decisions. And one of these executive decisions is taking care of yourself first and investing in your peace of mind and aligning with your true and organic, God given assignment. You want to get in alignment with your life's assignment, because all your skill sets, your mindset, how you think, how you be, how you operate, all of your gifting, all of your talents, way you think, has everything to do with the way you were designed. And anything that's created only functions well by operating in the system that it was designed to fit in. and you are sometimes operating outside of your realm. And we need you to own who you really are. And the minute that you own it, that's where own it comes from. That's where TCS takes center stage, and own it comes from. You're on the runway of your life. You know, it's life. You only get one turn at this catwalk. Get it right. Get it right. Get it right. Get it right. We're here to help you. And we're here to help you do it with some serious swagger. We love you. We're out. Listen, get in touch with us. We look forward to hearing from you. Take care.